Representative Tallman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Two questions, an easy one for the deputy and a little trickier one for the major. So we have here, and I just read this last night in bed, and it's a House Select Committee for School Safety done in 2014. And very interesting recommendations in this. So I'm going to make two that I need to pursue with you later. And as a first responder myself, one of the requirements in 1302 is to have blueprints/floor plans available to first responders. And there's other critical pieces to that according to the committee report, hasn't happened. So my easy question to you, Matt, is we have a safe school advocate, and Mr. Thomas alluded to Philadelphia County being pretty decent on some of this stuff. And if I understand the committee report correctly, it's only funded by you for, well, it's Philadelphia, the county of the first class. Is that correct?
That Safe Schools Advocate, correct, is just for Philadelphia at this time.
And so can you, IDPDE, I know it take more money, that's a given. What if we did that for 500 school districts? Would you recommend that?
I don't think we'd narrow it down to any one strategy. I think we'd be most interested in engaging General Assembly and taking a look at all of the opportunities that we have, some that may be in terms of increasing that type of resource or other regional resources, and would be very open to those conversations. Okay.
Now, Major. So in the report, we have the whole thing on the risk vulnerability assessment. And in Adams County, we haven't done, all of our 6 school districts have not had that done. And I'm going to reference specifically, because I'm going to maybe take a slight disagreement with what you said based on this committee report. And we have Mr. Healy here, who's very familiar with Bermudian. So Bermudian is a very concise campus. 3 buildings are right there. And that's one version. And then we have Upper Adams, which have buildings, I'm not saying it's bad, but they have buildings scattered all over the school district. Not connected, and they're separated by miles. And so the committee says that the risk vulnerability assessment has been done district versus building. So I understand maybe it would work for Bermudian where all 3, both the elementary, middle school, and high school are together in a campus, but then when you take Upper Adams where it's spread out all over northern Adams County, I think it needs to be a building by building, which is the recommendation of the committee. And so what resources do the state police need to make that happen to all 500 school districts? Building by building versus, because the committee at least alleges that the state police is doing this district versus building.
Sir, sitting before you now to come up with a resource it would take to do close to 6,000 school buildings in Pennsylvania, as I understand it, I couldn't accurately assess what that would be. With that in mind, we've done hundreds and hundreds of school assessments since the inception of the program in the mid-2000s. And in a lot of districts, what we'll do is let the superintendent pick the school. And what we find is a lot of the deficiencies you'll find in all the schools within that district. Some common things, inadequate lighting, lack of CCTV coverage where they can see who to admit into the building. Then we provide them with a complete list of industry best practices, other schools' best practices that can be applied to their other schools. So even without an RVAT member looking at their HVAC system in a school that's 10 miles away, a lot of the recommendations and things that our people discover can be applied to that school in absence of being able to make it to all 6,000 of them.
So the committee assessment is it should happen building by building.
Certainly, I mean, I believe you asked me what the resource would take to do that, and honestly, I don't know, sir. I mean, certainly something we could discuss about, but here I couldn't tell you what it would take. Assessments typically take, depends on the size of the school, 1 to 2 days, and sometimes can take more than one member, so all that would have to be taken into consideration. But again, often we find a lot of the same deficiencies at school after school.